Okay, hi everyone. I'm going to explain to you multi-word verbs. That is to say, these are verbs that are made up of more than one word. That is to say, we have a lexical verb and we have other elements after that verb. You know them very well. They are transitive, phrasal verbs and prepositional verbs. But we're going to analyze, dissect them, each one of them. So the definition: many multi-word units function like a single verb. These combinations usually have idiomatic meanings, that is to say, their meaning cannot be predicted from the meaning of each individual word. So if I say that the plane took off, it didn't take anything, and off, well, it does give the idea of separation, because always off means separation. But we wouldn't deduce the meaning of take off just because of the words that make up this phrasal verb. So we've got here transitive phrasal verb, intransitive phrasal verb here, prepositional verb, and phrasal prepositional verbs. Let's look at each one of them. In a transitive phrasal verb, the example that we are going to get is Lucy took off her coat. No problem, right? Then, in the example for a prepositional verb is Lucy looked for her coat. You see, they look quite similar, but they aren't. Now we're going to see. And the example of an intransitive phrasal verb is Lucy stood up. That's it. Lucy stood up. And the example for the phrasal prepositional verb is Lucy looked forward to the meeting. So, why is it that they are different? Why is it that this and this are different? Because this and this, it's quite obvious. We've got Lucy took off something, so it is transitive. And here Lucy stood up. She didn't stand up something, so it is intransitive. But both of these are transitive. Lucy took off her coat and Lucy looked for her coat. But they're different. Why? Because I can say Lucy took her coat off, and I can say Lucy took it off. Can I say that? And can I say Lucy looked her coat for? Can I say that? No, I can't. So they are not the same. What we have here is a verb with two elements, take and off, but off may be at the end of the sentence. That is to say, the direct object can be directly after the verb. These verbs are also called separable phrasal verbs. In some grammars, they call them separable and inseparable in this case. Separable phrasal verbs. So we've got Lucy took her coat off. So if a preposition is a word that is before, in a position before another element, because that's a preposition. A preposition is a word that is before another element. It is heading another element. It is heading a prepositional phrase, or a prepositional phrase. This is not the case, because you can say Lucy took off her coat, or Lucy took her coat off. And you can say Lucy took it off. That is why we don't call this word off a preposition, because transitive phrasal verbs are made up of a verb plus a particle. We call it particle precisely because they have the possibility of not having anything after them. Now let's look at prepositional verbs. Lucy looked for her coat. They look quite similar. But if I say Lucy looked her coat for, that would be wrong. So these verbs are inseparable. So Lucy looked for it is possible. Can I say looked it for? No, I can't say that. So this is a true preposition. That is why this is made up by a verb and A preposition, precisely. Now, let's go to the intransitive phrasal verbs. Lucy stood up. What do you think? Is it going to be made up of a verb plus a particle or a verb plus a preposition? A verb plus a particle, because there is nothing here. So yes, it is made up by a verb plus a particle. And then we have phrasal prepositional verbs. Lucy looked forward to the meeting. Looked forward to. Phrasal prepositional verb. They are made up of a preposition because there is something after this, and this is considered to be a particle. So they are made up of a verb plus a particle plus a preposition. So here we've got more examples of transitive phrasal verbs. For example, some people they read the top bit and read the bottom bit and sort of make up the bit in the middle. Quite a difficult example, because you might find out it works. Find out it works. Find it out. Find something out. You can find something out. Okay, I leave these examples for you to read. And then there are more examples of intransitive phrasal verbs. Shut up, go off to bed now, stand up straight. Prepositional verbs, and here they are divided semantically: activity, communication, and mental verbs in this case. Pity, we couldn't go for a romp around a canal, isn't it? Or Patrice held her breath waiting for Letty's reply. If you test this, trying to separate them, for instance, waiting for Letty's reply, waiting Letty's reply for is impossible to say, right? So, and we would say, what are you waiting for?